Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Battle with Ola once again. This is Mujola Olua and I'm super thrilled to be here once again. Today we want to talk about a very important topic, as all our topics are. It's in the realm of criminal law and international criminal law. And it's very important we talk about this because I've handled a few cases that involved this, and I really want to share, some important information so that it will be easy for people to identify when they have been targeted for this kind of crime, and they will know the way out. Today we want to talk about advanced fee fraud. Advanced fee fraud. I'm sure you've heard it before, probably not, but today you will understand what it means. Please subscribe to the channel and like the videos after you've seen them. Leave comments to show that you actually listened, followed through, and got something from the video. Advanced fee fraud is very simple. According to the FBI, an advanced fee scheme occurs when someone, that is the victim, pays some money to the perpetrator or predator, in exchange for some future value. It could be monies, it could be contracts, it could be inheritance, it could be gold, it could be even a relationship. Essentially, the predator approaches the victim and makes them believe, that they are a person of means, or that they are involved in some business with high returns, or an investment with high yield, or they have suddenly come into an inheritance, or that they are going through a process, maybe facilitating a government contract, or the release of someone from prison, as the case may be, different scenarios. And then they ask for money. Usually they start with a little sum, promising that with your assistance, when this comes out, when the returns come, when the investment yields, you will get so and so amount. Or they could make it look as if they are in some immediate financial difficulty, and that what they have is currently being held up, maybe by the government, maybe there's a lien on it. And then if you give me this amount of money, I will be able to process the release of those funds, or those goods, or facilitate that contract, and then you get maybe a percentage of the proceeds when I'm done. So it is a confidence scam. They make you have faith in them, that they are what they are not, in order to get your monies out of your pocket for their own purposes, promising you future value that they will not provide, and then they disappear into thin air. They probably block you off, cut you off, you don't see them again, you don't hear from them again as usual, because they've made the monies and they've gone. In some instances, or in most cases, people who perpetrate this fraud are very established in the business, so they are probably dealing with tons of victims at the same time. So you would think, okay, if this person is asking me for $1,000 or $500 or even $100, at the first instance, how much is that? But imagine asking $100 from about 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 people at the same time, and with the guarantee that at least 50% or 80% of those people will be gullible and would send the money, and then they continue. So it's a game of numbers to the perpetrators or the predators. They get these monies, then they cut off communication from people who have come to trust them, because they held themselves out to be who they are not. There are different typologies of advanced fee schemes, or advanced fee fraud, and there's a prominent one known as the Nigerian prince scam. It is not necessarily because in most cases, or in all cases, the perpetrator is from Nigeria, but it was very common at some point that he became associated with Nigeria, and now even some of the frauds claim to be from Nigeria when they are not. But essentially they lie and tell their victims that they are a prince in Nigeria, and that maybe they want to marry the victim, they're in love with the victim, they sell a love prospect, a romance scam to the victim, or they make it look like, oh, they're Nigerian prince, they have a lot of money, maybe the government is persecuting them, or their title, their princehood, is it princehood though? Maybe their princehood, whatever it is in danger. They're going through some difficulty back at home, which has impeded access to their funds. So they then scam their victims into giving them monies over a period of time, usually starting from a small sum to a larger amount, or maybe a small sum over a long period of time, which culminates into a very large sum. And then they disappear into thin air and do not fulfill whatever they have promised the person on the other side, whether it's a loving relationship or marriage or maybe contracts, government contracts, or a percentage of their held up funds. So it has different typologies. I'm going to try and list them out. It's not exhaustive, but you may have heard of or noticed some of these typologies. There's also the 419 scheme. It's very popular. 419 just means obtaining under false pretenses, and it originated from the Nigerian Criminal Code. Let me read section 419 to you. It says obtaining goods by false pretenses. Any person who by any false pretense and with intent to defraud obtains from another person anything capable of being stolen or induces any other person to deliver to any person anything capable of being stolen is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years. If the thing is of value of 1,000 naira or upwards, he is liable to imprisonment for 7 years. It is immaterial that the thing is obtained or its delivery is induced through the medium of a contract induced by the false pretense. The offender cannot be arrested without warrant unless found committing the offense. So this would most times cater to local domestic offenses, but when we talk about the international part, we look at some other laws that we will go through much later. So you see, this is the section in the Nigerian law that initially provided, for obtaining under false pretense, and it's section 419. That's why most people will say 419 when they are referring to obtaining under false pretense. So it's now a typology of the advance fee scheme. So someone could approach you with a contract and say that, oh, I'm pursuing this contract with the government, and maybe you could say the government officials are asking for a bribe. So if you give me and they approve this contract, when the money comes, I'll give you 30% of the proceeds. Then you do that, they go to several other people you wouldn't know, and then they get these monies and they disappear. There's also the letter from Jerusalem, or the Spanish prisoners camp too. They would present a front that they are trying to help a wealthy person that is in prison escape. So in order to escape, they need some monies to bribe the prison officials or to facilitate some processes. So they promise that when this wealthy person comes out, he has promised, or the family has promised, that they will give them so amount of monies, and then they will share it with you. Different types of stories are sold. So letters from Jerusalem, that one even dates back to, I think, the 19th or 18th century, where it was referenced in some texts. Some texts were found in the memoirs of Eugene Francois Vidocq, a former French criminal and private investigator, where he had referenced this about a total stranger would ask a favor from someone in exchange for probably some gold found in a casket belonging to a late rich woman, as the case may be. So you can begin to look at this advanced fee fraud scheme and see that the typologies are very similar. The Nigerian prince scam can also be called the 419 scam in some instances, but it's essentially obtaining under false pretenses. So they engender confidence and trust in the victim at first, and then they obtain monies from them for a promise of greater value, which will never come. In some instances, they may even go ahead as, that is, the predator may go ahead as paying out some monies, in the first or initial instances. Say, for instance, they ask for $200 at first. They pay back, ask for another $200, pay back. Then they ask for $2,000. And then they ask for another $4,000, with different promises and different explanations of why the money has not come, as the case may be. There are some people who also perpetrate this act, physically. And I've had to handle a few cases. And these people, they go abroad and then prey on innocent women who are looking for love. It could even be foreign women, or it could be women of their own nationality who are looking for love and think that, oh, they found their kinsman who loves them and believes in them in a strange land. And then they present themselves as a person of means from their country. Maybe back at home, they're a big politician or a big business person. And they show proof to an extent. They would show documents, pictures. Some would even invite their prey over. Come to our country, come and see how big I am, how I'm living, my people, my businesses, my empire. And then they start to ask for funds. So this business is going through this kind of thing. Please, can you just loan me this amount of money? I'll pay back. Now, this person already loves them or think that they do, and then begins to give them this monies. Loans, give them this monies, until at some point the person realizes that they are scamming them. They're not going to return these funds, and they keep giving excuses upon excuses. Oh, my goods are at sea, I've not cleared them. Oh, the exchange rate is bad now, returning it could be work hardship on my finances. Oh, the business is not going well now, the economic policies are affecting us. Different excuses. At the end of the day, they will not pay. Either the victim gets tired and leaves them alone, or they find an excuse and they actually leave or abandon the relationship. So this could take different forms, but know that once a total stranger is approaching you with a proposition for you to give them money or do them a favor, usually money, but it could be something else, even maybe a relationship, in exchange for a future greater value, after having presented themselves as a person of means, because if they said they were a poor person, you would not be deceived. But usually they target gullible people, or they even target smart people, by their importunity. These people are convinced. I get these emails every now and then because my email is in public domain because of my practice, my law practice, and they say things like, oh, they found out that their uncle died and he left so thousands of USD, and now they need to process it. If I'm interested, this is their phone number, this is their address, this is their email. They want to share the money with me because they believe in charity, in this and that. I should then contact them. I never do. I delete it because most times it even goes to spam. So when I'm checking spam, I see them. So just know that if you're getting this kind of emails, they are sending it to thousands or even millions of people. You are not the only one. So don't feel special just yet, and know that this is the beginning of a scam. Don't fall prey. Don't be gullible. So we've talked about the Nigerian prince scam, the 419, the letter from Jerusalem, the Spanish prince scam, the inheritance scam, romance scam, and several other types. There's even the sugar mommy, sugar daddy typology, where the perpetrator, for instance, present themselves, as a person of means to a younger lady or a younger man, promising to take care of them if they will get into a relationship with them, and then they begin to make inquiries, gather facts and data about this person. When they've exchanged information, they are able to decide if this is a person they can prey upon, and then they start to ask for, financial favors and whatnot. And at the end of the day, this person thinks, oh, I'm getting into a relationship with someone that is of means and older and they can take care of me. But at the end of the day, they are the ones who take care of the scammer. And then the scammer leaves them, dry and empty. So those are the types of scams. So please be very careful when someone, total stranger, or maybe someone you are just a bit familiar with, is promising you greater value and asking you for, smaller sums at the initial instances. Be very alert and on guard. We've talked about the what. Now, what could be the why? Greed. That's the why. Some people have looked at the motives and seen that it's usually fueled by some research has been done into the motives, and it's been discovered that it's usually fueled by poverty, people trying to get rich quickly. And it's also been discovered, a 2018 study, showed that, some hip-hop lyrics, hip-hop song, hip-hop music, have glamorized this type of scams. And so, many young men, especially, it's not only for men, but many young men do it. So, but the overarching motive, the why, would be greed. Because if you're trying to get rich quickly by exploiting another person, causing them heartbreak, it's been scientifically discovered that heartbreaks can actually kill. So when you cause someone to fall in love with you or to trust you, that not knowing you before, they decide to go into business with you, and to commit their finances onto you, it's greed. And it could be greed on the other side too, because in some instances, a smart person will look at it. I don't need these funds you're offering me. I don't need this gold you're offering me. When I get these emails, I look at them. I don't need another person's inheritance that you're offering me. I don't need it. So that's the why. Then who? We've talked about the fact that most Nigerians, not most, we've talked about the fact that this crime has strong links with Nigeria. And now, in contemporary times, it is not necessarily because Nigerians are usually at the other end of it, the criminals, but more criminals now claim to be from Nigeria even when they are not, because of the association that the crime has with Nigeria, So there have been studies that have reviewed that many of these criminals come from other countries, European countries, African countries, as the case may be, Netherlands, Spain, Jamaica, South Africa, and Nigeria, and several other countries. But most people, most criminals like to say they are from Nigeria because they know that there are some association, there's some kind of association, especially when you're a Nigerian prince, you already know that that's a typology that emanated from Nigeria, but it's now a very global phenomenon, which is sad. So that's the who. Now, when? It could be at any time. They do it via emails, via text, via phone, and even personally now, because, personally it's even more dangerous, because the person, you would see the person, maybe they are dressing the part, they are looking the part, living the part. Some predators even prey on their victims for a longer period before they begin to ask for money. They start an affair, a relationship, a romance affair, a romance scam, let's call it what it is, before they begin to carry out their ulterior motive. But the victim would not know, because they've become accustomed. Maybe you've seen this person for 3 months and you've been dating, going out, you know where they live, you know the kind of life they live. They've even told you, this is where I work, this is my CV, these are my business partners. They've put up a front that is believable. So may God deliver us, because it's not just the gullible people. May God just deliver us. So that's the when. We've talked about why, what, who, when, where rather. When, I think we talked about when and where. So when and where, we've talked about that. So when this has happened now, when I've talked to, it could be any time, it could be on any medium. That's why I'm putting when and where together. So when this has happened, what is the remedy? We've read section 419. So you can file a complaint with the Nigerian police if you are in Nigeria, and especially if this crime has links to Nigeria, because you have to consider jurisdiction before there's a preliminary objection filed by the defense. You have to look at jurisdiction. So maybe if you have sent them monies through your Nigerian accounts, or they have received monies through Nigerian accounts, or there's a link to Nigeria by which the court can assume jurisdiction properly, you can file a complaint with the Nigerian police. In any case, file a complaint first, report, and let the police help you decide, or see a lawyer, let them help you decide if you have a remedy in Nigeria or not, or if you're going to have to explore international law enforcement. Now, I want us to look at what the EFCC does. The EFCC is the body empowered by law to prosecute advance fee fraud in Nigeria. And there's an Advance Fee Fraud Act that was enacted in 2006 because of the rampancy of this crime. So it's not only a cyber crime now, it could be physically too, but most times, especially in contemporary times, due to the advent of the digital world, the digital era, it is mostly now cyber crimes. So you can file under the Nigerian Cyber Crimes Act, you can also file under the Advance Fee Fraud Act, but the EFCC is empowered by law to enforce the Advance Fee Fraud Act. So if it is something that is beyond the criminal code, you can also file a petition with the EFCC and let them look at the merits of it and see if it's something within their jurisdiction that they can prosecute on your behalf. So let me look at the Advance Fee Fraud. I want to read out some parts to you to show that some of the things captured in section 419 is now also properly captured in the Advance Fee Fraud Act, and so it is sufficient remedy once there's proof. This is the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related Offences Act 2006. And if you look at section, it repealed the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related. It repealed the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related Offences Act number 13 of 1995 and the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related Offences Amendment Act 2005. There has been some amendments and repealing, because this crime keeps progressing. and the Nigerian state continues to work hard to protect its citizens and their interests. So there are two parts that I want to read out that I find very interesting. If you look at section 1, it is obtaining property by false pretenses. So that's how the act even opens. So you know that this is exactly about this offense. It says, notwithstanding anything contained in any other enactment or law, that is, any other law like the criminal code that we have read, any person who by any false pretense and with intent to defraud obtains from any other person in Nigeria or in any other country. You see why this one caters to everything. It's more holistic. For himself or any other person, or induces any other person in Nigeria or in any other country to deliver to any person any property, whether or not the property is obtained or its delivery is induced through the medium of a contract induced by the false pretense, commits an offense under this act. Now, what's the punishment for that offense? A person who commits an offense, that's section 1, subsection 3 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act. A person who commits an offense under subsection 1 or 2 of this section is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of not more than 20 years and not less than 7 years without the option of a fine. So that is imprisonment without the option of a fine. So if you feel you've been scammed or you've been a victim of advanced fee fraud from any person within or without Nigeria, especially as a Nigerian, you can file a petition with the EFCC. They will look at the merits of it and open an investigation and prosecute if there's sufficient proof. Now, it doesn't just imprison the victim, which is why I like this particular law. I'll show you where it provides for restitution. If you look at section 11, section 11 says, in addition to any other penalty prescribed under this act, the High Court shall order a person convicted of an offense under this act to make restitution to the victim of the false pretense of fraud by directing that person, where the property involved is money, to pay to the victim an amount equivalent to the loss sustained by the victim. In any other case, to return the property, to pay the amount equal to the value of the property, where the return of the property is impossible or impracticable. An order of restitution may be enforced by the victim or by the prosecutor on behalf of the victim in the same manner as the judgment in a civil action. So this law caters to everything. It doesn't just imprison the criminal, after conviction. It also mandates them to return what they have taken so that the person is not at loss. And I think that's wonderful. My colleague and friend, was just telling me about, a case he filed with the EFCC up north in Kaduna, and how, when the person was arrested and prosecuted, a lien was placed on his bank account. The amount that was left from the fraudulent obtaining was retrieved and then shared amongst his victims. So they didn't get all their monies because this person does not have all the money, and the person is going to jail where they cannot work to make money to return it. But what was left, they shared it. So I'm not certain how they are going to get the rest, probably when the person comes out, or they'll continue to talk about that since it's a custodial sentence. But that is essentially what can happen with the enforcement of the advanced fee fraud by the EFCC. So that's the remedy. If you have been a victim of this, go see a lawyer, file a petition with the EFCC. They look at the merits, and if the petition is approved for investigation, an investigation will be opened. The state will prosecute this on your behalf. The petition is free. EFCC will not take money, but your lawyer will take money to render the services to you. And then the EFCC will prosecute. I believe they're in all states in Nigeria, probably the state capitals. So you find out their office. You can look it up online, and then go there. Go see an official. Let them put you through how to file your petition. Go see a lawyer. Let a lawyer do that for you. File your petition. If it's approved on its merits, an investigation will be opened, and they will prosecute the matter to the letter. And you stand a chance of getting your money back or your property back, whatever has been taken from you, and then the offender goes to jail. to serve as a deterrent, So it's a very good law. So that is what advanced fee fraud is in Nigeria, and that is the remedy provided by law. Don't forget that this is a confidence trick. So the goal of the scammer is to get you to trust them before they then begin to exploit you. And you must always note that when you get this kind of emails or offers physically or by electronic means, they are probably preying on thousands or millions or hundreds of other people. So don't feel too special just yet. Also, because they would make you send them monies via wire transfer, bank account transfers and whatnot, you would be able to gather this proof when filing your petition with the EFCC so that the accounts can be traced. So it's very important to have your proof ready and to have it clear, and sorted out before you go to EFCC. Apart from romance scams, there could also be lottery scams. It's also a type of advanced fee fraud. Lottery scams, employment scams, online sales and rental scams, even pet scams. In all these cases, they will probably say, for instance, employment scam. Oh, we have this employment, please pay this amount of money to get the employment form, or pay this amount of money to go through the tests, or to maybe conduct a medical examination, or to do this or that for background check, whatnot. And then they disappear into thin air after obtaining these funds. Sales, online sales and rentals. It could be you want to buy an item online, they make you pay and then they never send the item. So you expect value for your money, but you never get it back. The list is inexhaustive, but the basic thing is that in advance fee schemes, you're being asked to advance funds for value, future value, that will never come to you because the person on the other side is scamming you. So stay guarded, stay jiggy. Don't forget to subscribe to Battle with Ola. I will see you in my very next video. Toodles.